Hello everyone, my name is Griff, and today I'm going to be going over my auto team for the new Sinister Dominion fight for the Expert difficulty. Now this is a modified version of the XenoZim auto team that he posted on Reddit, which I will leave a comment to his post in the description. A few differences I made is I switched out a few of the dragons and I switched out a few of the prints. And one of the big things I want to talk about with this fight and autoing this fight specifically is you really need units with crowd control. Now, I have Jaldabaoth, which I'm using as my crowd control unit with his first skill and his second skill, which kind of hit in the big areas. But also I have the shared skill of Mim and Lapis on him for Dispel. And then he has Mars as a dragon to get the skill resets up. Now, a few of the other things that I have are I have Reborn Agni on Mim. Now, in most comps, she'll be running Konohana Sakia, which I unfortunately do not have a maximum bound copy of. And I wanted to put Gala Agni, which a summoning video will be going up in the next few days of my polls on this banner, so look forward to that. But all in all, I think that this fight is very unique in what it does. It kind of reminds me of, I can't remember which one, but there is a void fight where essentially the mechanic is that you need to kill all the other enemies before you can kill the boss in order to complete the void fight. And that's kind of the same thing here, because what the boss will do and what Gabrielle will do is she will summon basically these little clones around her. And what they do is that they put a timer on basically themselves, and then there is a screen wipe move that we actually will see in this fight, because this auto team isn't amazing, but it has cleared with no deaths. There will be a death in this run, unfortunately, so it won't have all the bonuses that you could have, but this comp does work. It's the comp I'm going to use, and as I'll mention later, it kind of revolves around how far you are in clearing these quests. But just to continue, basically he summons a bunch of these other little bosses and dragons that you have to clear, and you can see the little timer over their heads, and those timers are indications of basically how you need to clear this fight and what you need to do to clear this fight. You have to kill all of them, and if you don't kill all of them, there's a timer that clicks down. As you can see, it went from 9 to 8 there, that basically just tells you how to play the fight. And if you don't clear them, he'll do a screen wipe move. Kind of cool. He also has a tomb that breaks. I'm not 100% sure what breaking the tomb does, but it is an interesting mechanic that he does have a breakable part, and it will come back in the fight. I believe it buffs his damage. One of the other things that's really important in this fight is these basically charge moves that he does. And when he does this, he gains 100% defense or 100% strength or regen stacks, depending on how many of them you defeat. Now, it is very important that you defeat at least 1 in the first phase and I believe 2 in the second, because the regen is tied to those phases specifically. You don't need to complete them all. As you see, I don't think in any of the runs I do I complete them all, and even if you do complete them all, he still gets some buffs at the end. So it's really important that you have Dispel on your team, whether it be Nobunaga, Naveed, Yuden, Jaldabaoth in my case. All those will work. So, pretty interesting fight, pretty unique fight. As I was saying, progression in this fight is really tied to how far you progress in the fight as a whole. One huge difference that I had personally was the extra slots in my team with my Worm Prince. Having the extra strength from Sword's Boon, having the extra skill damage to slot in other effects later on Jaldabaoth was super important in my case, because it allowed me to basically clear this fight. In the first place, when I first did this fight on an auto team, I ran out of time, and now I can clear even with a reset in there. So if there are more lively units, it will be better in some cases. As far as the prints go for this fight, there are a few unique prints that I think really will affect the future more than the current. Especially in the case of one of them, which I will go over later, which is a Stormlash Punisher print in the extra slots. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty unique idea, because if I understand this correctly, you can basically put this on any team, so any team could have Stormlash Punisher to a degree. I don't know what it is at full unbound because I haven't been able to look yet, but at the base level it is 5%, and I'm sure it goes up from there. But it is still pretty interesting to see, how these prints will affect the future more so than the current. And another one of them is called, I believe, Draconic Revival. And essentially what that does, and I'll go over it later, is you trade off your Dragon Gauge for a free revive, even in quests that don't have a revive. And I think this is probably the biggest print from this event, because I'm looking at this from a perspective of someone who likes to auto a lot of content. Having a revive on just a free one that doesn't take away from my normal revives on certain units can help a lot with opening blasts, bringing in units, bringing in other units that might, die early on that need to be revived later, things like that. And I especially want to look at this in the case of Dragon Drive characters, because Dragon Drive characters do not use the Dragon Gauge. So, for example, if I'm in a Legend Cayenne auto, and I'm using Joker, and Joker is turning into Arsene with Dragon Drive, but he still has 100% of his Dragon Gauge full, I can then use this Draconic print to revive him if he were to die, and then get the bonuses as if I did and nothing wrong. I am going to take as you'll see here, I'm going to take the weekly bonus here, strictly because I don't think I'm going to clear Master this week. I'd never have actually cleared Master Lilith at all. And you can see there that it's not cleared here. It's basically just better weekly bonuses, but that's really all it is. So looking at a few of these prints, the one you'll see here first is I believe it's a skill haste print, and that's pretty interesting. You can add a little more skill haste. This one is the Draconic Resurrection, not Revive, I said. But it's cool to see this. It's really one of these prints that changes up the way we play the game. I think this is similar to the one that inflicted the poison on the corrosion on you in the first fight. So it's pretty cool to see that. And then here's the Stormlash Punisher print, and here is another skill damage print. So it's really cool to see all these new prints and see all their effects. I don't have them all, but that's my impressions of this fight so far. So that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.